Welcome back, guys. We're looking at the 1000th correction of Bitcoin today, okay then. So Bitcoin hit an all-time high of around 44.80. That quickly dropped to 38.90. And now we've recovered to just under 4,200. So why is this happening? I think a lot of people are taking profits, but there's so much investor movement, investor activity in Bitcoin at the moment. It doesn't matter if people keep dumping. At least for today, at least what we've seen, people are still buying. There's still a lot of investor movement, still a lot of steam behind Bitcoin, not to be confused with Steam, and that's why we are seeing what is happening. Now we can conceptualize Bitcoin's growth having a look at this chart. What this chart will show you is the performance of Bitcoin as versus the S&P 500, which if you're not sure what that is, it's basically the top 500 companies via their stock valuations in the United States. So if you have a look at the bottom here, there's a lot of red and green, and this is the kind of total gains and losses that people have experienced within the last couple of years. The blue line representing Bitcoin's growth, far outstripping any stock and its returns by a long shot. You remember that crash in July? You can barely see it on this graph. The total gains is around 6,000% over the more traditional investments. And in the last 100 days alone, it's grown over 150%. Comparatively, if you look at the total for S&P 500, the last time its stock valuation doubled, it would have taken you about 7 years from 2000 till today, while Bitcoin can do it within a few months. But if Bitcoin is designed to take over the world as its leading global financial solution, why are we still looking at it from a fiat perspective? Why are we still looking at the dollar valuation? And that's an important question. And the reason is because we need to. We are a long, long way off of global adoption. Just how far we've come is huge. But for example, there's estimated in January of this year to be 11.48 million different addresses for Bitcoin. Now, this is a poor example to see how many people are actually using Bitcoin, how many people hold Bitcoin, but we can safely assume the number is anywhere under 11.4 million people. Now, if we have a look at how many 11.5 million means against the total global population, which is around 7.5 billion, we're looking at a global adoption rate of 0.15%, at least for today. Extremely early days, extremely fringe technology. There's a long way still to go. That's how early we still are. Now, there's an estimated $69 trillion locked up in the stock market. Comparatively, you put that against Bitcoin's current valuation of 69 billion, and it suddenly doesn't look so much. There is huge potential. Now to the potential risk. So in the stock market, you have the added advantage of being able to diversify your portfolio, essentially meaning you can put your investments over multiple sectors so that should one of them fail, at least you've still got the others to fall back on. You can do this to a certain degree in crypto, but not really. You wouldn't really refer to it as diversifying, more as hedging, where you put investments into sort of different options within the same sector. So it's not quite diversifying. Currently, as we all know, Bitcoin is the sun, the center of the universe. All the other coins rotate around it. Should Bitcoin start to crash, or should that sun brightness start to fail, all of the other planets feel it. It grows cold, and they go down. There are a few exceptions, but generally, that's what happens. Bitcoin is so important. So diversifying doesn't really work, at least in crypto, at least for now. Now, having a look back at the market, we can see investor confidence in Ethereum isn't right there at the moment. This will certainly come back, but more good news keeps coming out of their camp. More good news for OmiseGo. So if you didn't know, Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, is one of the central advisors to the OmiseGo project. Now, OmiseGo uses ERC20 tokens, which are essentially tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. They met at the Central Bank of Thailand recently and discussed the future of the Thai economy with Ethereum, OmiseGo, and then this hashtag Plasma as well. Now, we don't know the contents of that meeting. All we do know is that awareness is spreading, exposure is spreading, and I think the market will catch up with all of the good news that's been coming out of the Ethereum camp lately, eventually. When, I don't know. Probably when Bitcoin starts to slow down in its growth, because there's been huge bullish news behind Ethereum. Now, that's not to say that Ethereum is undervalued. Far from it. If you take a look at this Bitcoin Uncensored interview, you can see an Ethereum developer talking about the current price valuation for Ether.
So when you see these people who are very uneducated, who are telling the camera that they are here to invest in the world's computer that's going to replace www, do you feel like you have like any qualms, culpability, or concerns about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel, all of the above, right? I feel like I haven't done enough to tell people that like, oh, this is like, immature technology. And I feel like I have concerns due to the fact that like, commercial interest and adoption is far outpaced the kind of like tech.
There we have a developer themselves saying, about the price valuation. It is very high. I think there's a lot of speculation with Ethereum. But in my mind, if people think it's worth $290 now, before all of the good news that's been coming out lately, it'll be interesting to see what happens. OmiseGo still going strong. Another 20% in the last 24 hours, up to $8. Great project. Onto something that I don't think is a great project, at least from my understanding. Blockstream is going to rent a satellite to be able to process transactions for people in countries like Central Africa, where they have poor access to internet or no access whatsoever. But the problem still remains that those without internet or limited access would struggle to buy Bitcoin in the first place, struggle to convert it into something else in the first place. They would struggle to use it. Now, it really is an interesting project, but who it benefits, really, I don't know. Apart from the obvious, which is Blockstream, because this is a good PR move, but we shall have to see how this thing pans out. And I hate talking about Ripple, but there are some news from Ripple. They plan to expand in China. Okay, that's enough from them. Essentially, I don't like Ripple as a cryptocurrency that is centralized by the banks. I think it just goes against everything that we will eventually have. I think decentralized currency is an amazing technical revolution by the people, for the people, and they're getting in on the action. And okay, if you're a Ripple investor, I'm not trying to hate on anybody. It's just a project I don't support. Now, this is a pretty funny story. So the National Bank of Ukraine, a couple weeks back, confiscated a mining farm that was in one of the state-owned buildings. So next week, they're having a meeting to discuss the legal implications of Bitcoin. And then the news came out, probably from a financial audit, that some of the lawmakers own $45 million worth of Bitcoin. Now, would they be incentivized to pass a law making Bitcoin essentially supported by the government? I think they'd be incentivized 45 billion times to do that. And let me tell you the story of one of the unluckiest men in the world, a secret agent by the name Sean Bridges, who was involved in the takedown of the Silk Road website a couple years back. He fancied some of the Bitcoins that were being confiscated for himself, was later found out, charged for wire fraud theft in 2015, and attempted to escape the country early 2016 before his prison sentence, but was arrested. Now, at the time, he stole 1,600 Bitcoins, which was $500 million in 2015, and today is worth over $6 million. And what did he do with those 1,600 Bitcoins, you might ask? He sent them, not to a friend, not to a private wallet. He sent them to a Bitcoin exchange, btc-e, which was earlier shut down this month by federal officials. How unlucky can you be? Just goes to show you, crime only sometimes pays. He's facing up to 10 years now and a $250,000 fine. Now, guys, I want to discuss something really important with you. Yesterday, I made a video saying that I hadn't thanked people for crossing a threshold of subscribers because it was difficult to do so when it just kept growing so quickly. So I made the comfortable assumption that I could thank people at 4,000 for subscribing. And then what did you do? You go and cross 5,000 the same day, making me look like a total fool. In the best way, of course. I just wanted to say thank you very much. The love being poured out is amazing. Thank you very much for all your comments, your likes, everything. And I will see you in the next one.